Oh, I work all kinds of jobs to make the racing dream happen. So, yeah, I think like many in this sport, I'm a multitasker. It is so hard to just purely make a living off of racing. So I do have a day job, actually working for Toyo Tire. So I actually manage a lot of their product developments for motorsports, now UHP tires. So I get to be surrounded in the motorsports world in my day job, which is cool. But also to help run my racing program, I'm all over the place. So I'm kind of a freelance writer and automotive journalist. As of late, I've been doing lots of writing for hot cars. I still pitch in for D Sport on occasion. There's a track day group out here called Speed Ventures. So if you got a race car you want to test, or you've got a Prius in your garage that you want to drive on track, just like anything and everything in between, we host track day events for people to bring their cars out to. And so I'm an event director out there for 12, 14 events a year, something like that. And so I get to slap wrists, keep people in line, but also often get to instruct like the beginner groups where we've got, a class of 10 or 20 people that have never been on track before and kind of teach them the basics of, on track safety and then the fun stuff of how to go faster. So yeah, journalism stuff, writing, the track day stuff, and I still do some coaching and data analysis for drivers too. Yeah, and it's kind of a mix of people that are doing track days, time attack stuff, and they want to improve their lap times or improve their skill, and then other people still in the racing world where we get to, kind of focus a little bit more on the racecraft aspects and a little bit on, kind of the business side of it too, on, trying to help. I found that a lot of my work off track, I try to focus on helping people reach their goals. I've been lucky to have the experience that I have had in amateur and pro racing and on the business side of motorsports and the automotive industry. So I do kind of just trying to leverage that as much as I can to help other people kind of get the same cool experiences that I've been lucky enough to have, and hopefully they get to do more.
That's awesome, man. Now, what are your hopes for this year, for 2024?
For 2024, there's a lot going on. One big blessing and a big problem I got is my wife and I are expecting a kid at the end of September.
Wow, congrats.
Yeah, thank you. So we've got one, that's already a handful, and two is just going to be a giant struggle. I know. I'm super pumped for it. But the thing is, now it's like September, that due date, there's the deadline where it's like, okay, all the racing projects, all the outstanding to-dos that I've got sitting on my list right now, I got to get it done before that arrival date. So,
You know what you're talking about because I have a friend from school who had three kids with his wife in less than
yeah.
2 years. And it's like,
Whoa.
and he's pulling it off. It's like, I even asked him the other day, I was like, how do you sleep pretty good and keep your hold on things with like all those less than 2 year old kids, you know?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It keeps you more than just busy. You are just constantly in two places at once somehow. So yeah, my hopes for this year, my problem is my year does not end in December this time. My year, I think, ends in September. So we're gonna try and build and develop this new Factory 5 car as quickly as I can. Still continue with the coaching projects, but yeah, it's all going to be a transition here.
Yeah. Have you ever seen the movie Incredibles 2, the second sequel, the sequel?
No, not the second one yet. I need to.
There is a scene in the movie where Mr. Incredible, aka Bob Parr, learns the hard way of what raising a baby is like. And there's a
Hmm.
scene where he goes so much without sleep that he throws a tirade against his children at one point.
Sounds about right. I
And
feel
I
like that
think,
with just one kid.
yeah, yeah. So, how can your journey impact millions of race fans?
Oh man, so I guess with lots of the work that I say I do off track, I guess it started out as kind of a selfish pursuit, and it's still very much a selfish pursuit. I want to drive race cars because driving race cars is fun. But I think I've been blown away by how fulfilling this experience can be. and how exhausting and how tiring and how stressful it can be. And like back when I sold my TA2 car, I think that was like 22. That, as much as I don't want to admit it, may have been a little bit of a result of actual burnout. Like I worked really, really hard to make that program happen, and I was just like running into all kinds of metaphorical brick walls. And I hit a point where it was just like too much for me, and I couldn't handle it anymore. And so I had to take a break for a little bit. And now coming back into it, I've kind of realized, what happened there? It kind of wasn't fun anymore. I got to a point where, the bits of fun were getting more and more short-lived. I was working harder to make less things happen. And so now I'm trying to come back into it, but this whole change with helping other people to hit their goals and getting to partner up with people that I like and end up becoming friends with, that's all been adding to the experience so much more. And so the impact that I want to have on people, I guess, is kind of multiple aspects. On the one side, the coaching, the newbies, helping people understand the car and racing scene, helping them feel comfortable around it and enjoy it in the way that I did. That's one side of it. And so for all the up and coming racers, I think I've been kind of discovering for myself, find a way that makes it work. Find a way that makes it work for you within your limits so that you can keep doing it for as long as it's fun. And so I think just these last couple of years, I hit that massive reset button where I said, I'm going to change my whole approach on this and be happy with what I got, be happy with what I can do, push myself to the point of fulfillment and satisfaction in racing, but I don't want to burn myself out again. And so I'm trying to kind of spread this around and help people out so that they don't get burnt out on it. They don't beat themselves up for being too slow or not good enough. Just for everybody, just remember, we're here to learn, enjoy this crazy, awesome experience that we get to share together behind the wheel, watching from the sidelines, interviewing people, talking to drivers, people involved, whatever. But let's all just do this to enjoy the experience, enjoy the fun of it, and help each other out. And that's it.
Yeah, you do have a good point. If you're not having fun, then why keep doing it? That's the reason that Rick Mears retired and why Greg Biffle walked away from NASCAR. It was just they weren't having fun anymore. You know what I mean?
It was
That's what
crazy.
they.
Yeah. The sorry to cut in. Just yeah, the Rick Mears story. I think I listened to a Dinner with Racers interview with him a year or two back, I think, and I've heard the story multiple times where it sounds like he kind of just woke up one day and it's just like, yeah, I'm just kind of not into it anymore. And then hearing him in that interview, it kind of resonated with me where I was like, oh shoot, I think I kind of relate or kind of resonate where it's just like the fun started dropping out of it. And you got to be careful not to let yourself hit that point.
Yeah, and you know what else? I had a similar experience years ago around the time I stopped doing go-karts. When I continued through my teen years, I still ran those K1 level go-karts even through high school. But when I started to but then in my final main season, I only ran half the races, and then afterwards, I just decided I wasn't going to do it anymore. And it was pretty much for the same thing. I had some stuff going on in my life at the time that I needed to address, and I wasn't having fun anymore, even with the wins. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's it. You got to look out for you first.
Yeah, yeah. But I'm glad that I still go to professional races and still get to meet a lot of names like Penske and Unser. I always enjoy those moments, and yeah, and recently I've started dabbling tinily into some karting, but it's so far I'm committed at the moment to, sort of doing other
Yeah.
things,
Yep, absolutely. But keep pursuing what's fun for you. What makes it all worth it, right?
Yeah, for sure. So, where can people find you?
Well, on or in person on site, you'll find me at lots of SoCal tracks, just running around, mostly with the Speed Ventures group. I'm bouncing around. I swear I'm at a different racetrack every weekend, almost always on the West Coast stuff here in California. But online, I think it's Cam Drives Cars Across the Board. Instagram, a pretty inactive TikTok. There's a Facebook page, but if you just go to Cam Drives Cars or parsonsracing.com, that's where you can find all the stuff. I think Instagram's probably where I'm the most active, where you'll see the latest updates. So yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So that's all we have for now, but we thank you for coming on.
Yeah, thanks a bunch, you guys. Really appreciate it.
No
Thank you,
problem.
Cameron.
Yeah. So everybody, I'd like to thank Josh for being a great co-host for the first time on SFM, and I'd like to thank Cameron Parsons for being our guest, and we'll see you next time on SFM.